For 25 years, Brightview Senior Living has been dedicated to creating an award-winning company culture so residents and families receive best-in-class services. Across our 50 communities, Brightview associates help deliver peace of mind, safety, security, transportation, daily programs, delicious food, and high-quality care if needed. Discover how our vibrant senior living communities can help you live your best life. Visit brightviewseniorliving.com to learn more. Equal housing opportunity.
Could these study results apply to your life? If you or a loved one are living with HER2-positive metastatic breast cancer, take a look at the data for a clinical study where 50% of eligible people with HER2-positive MBC lived over 2 years without their tumors growing or spreading. Visit her2results.com to learn more.
State Farm and DJ Dramos from Life as a Gringo know that getting your money right brings freedom, empowerment, and future success.
The mindset work that it takes to retrain your brain to believe that you are someone who can obtain anything you want financially and hit all of those financial goals, and that the only thing holding you back is yourself. I love how she talks about like just demanding how much you believe you're worth, how much you want to make, and how you have to make that declaration.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey everyone, I'm Brian Austin Green.
I'm Shauna Burgess.
And I'm Randy Spelling.
And you are listening to Oldish, an iHeartRadio podcast.
What's up, Randy? How you feeling?
Feeling good, Sharna.
I know. We just feel like we're just moving with the changes today. So we don't have Bri with us right now. He's on his way. He got caught in crazy traffic. My man is many things, but a good scheduler is not one of them. So he's going to be running in here in 5 minutes. But I'm excited to be here with you, Randy. We have a really cool guest today.
We have a really cool guest. I'm so excited to talk with her and spend a little time with her. So we have on the podcast today Savannah Chrisley, who grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. She's best known for starring on the USA Network's Chrisley Knows Best and the spinoff Growing Up Chrisley. She is a makeup guru and has her own beauty brand called Sassy. She also has her own podcast called Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley, which I have listened to some episodes. It is great. She's on the newest season of Special Forces, of course, with Brian, World's Toughest Test. Savannah Chrisley, welcome to Oldish.
Thank you for joining us, Savannah.
Thank you so much. What an experience. Podcasting is like one of my favorite things. So
it's really cool. I don't know if you have this issue, but we have technical difficulties literally every episode of us just trying to get it together. We are not a well-oiled machine yet, but we are a fun one. I will say that. We get into some good stuff.
It's okay. I do like all of my stuff in person. So, because I'm terrible with technology, so I would be in the same boat. I would always have a technical difficulty if I did it from home.
I love that for you. We're going to move up in the podcast world, and we're going to do that too.
You can just claim to be oldish, Savannah. I mean, no matter what age, hey, you could just join us in the technically challenged arena.
That is us.
I am there. I'm like the grandmother of my friend group. So I'm there. I totally get it.
I'm like that too. I've always been like that. Wait, Savannah, remind me, if it's okay me asking, how old you are?
26.
You're 26? Oh my gosh, you're a baby.
Wait, so
I can say that to someone. I can't say that to anyone on this show.
Me. If I ask that, that would be a sort of a no-no. Like, oh, you're not supposed to ask a woman her age. But now, if another woman asks, is that okay?
Hey, I'm not, honestly, I did not grow up in a very soft environment. So I don't take offense to anything.
Right,
so
yeah.
The whole age thing and I'm just like, I ask a lot of things I shouldn't ask. So that's another thing is no filter.
I think, you know what I think would be offensive, Randy, if you followed it up with, oh, wow, interesting. I think that's where you'd be like, okay, that's shitty, but
right.
Savannah, you look amazing. You have beautiful skin. You're obviously a beautiful woman. Thank you for hanging out with us today. I've heard so many amazing things about you from Bri. And leading into knowing that we were going to get to chat with you today, tried to learn as much as I could about you. And I just need to say, wow, you are an amazing human. And I'm so incredibly impressed by you and your story. And I'm just really grateful that you said yes to come and hang with us today and to talk about things.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for having me. Life throws you curveballs, and I'm like, you just have to take it as it comes at this point. And that's what I do. I'm like, you have to find the positive in every situation because there is something positive to take away from everything as long as you're looking for it.
I agree with
Yes.
that.
Okay, so let's rewind it back. For those listening, for those who are not familiar with your story and how you got to the sentiment that you just shared with life throws you curveballs, because just a deep breath, a sigh for how many curveballs you've been thrown. And I think it's so important to get into that because everyone can relate to curveballs. We all might have different curveballs, but it is these unexpected moments in life that happen and just make your head spin. How do you deal with that? So can you take us back to the beginning? Start with your upbringing and how you got into the reality TV world.
Yeah, so I am one of five siblings. So I come from a big family. My dad, he was married before my mom had two kids and then met my mom and had us three. And that, I grew up my parents were wealthy. I grew up around that. But I also watched my parents like have it all and lose it all, which was, I would say, the most humbling experience, but also a blessing in disguise because it would be so easy to be like this spoiled brat that is so used to having things handed to her. But also at the age of 15, I watched my parents go from having it all to losing it all. And during that year, my mom was also diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
So my dad filed bankruptcy. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. My grandfather passed away from liver cancer, all within that same year.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And then our show came about, which was a blessing in disguise. And so we started filming Chrisley Knows Best, and it got picked up. It was 9 out of 10 networks wanted it. So it was a huge bidding war, and it ended up on USA, E, and Bravo. It was the only show to have ever done that, which now they say like they still try to break the record, but it hasn't been done yet.
Wow.
And we filmed our show for 10 years, and it was difficult because I was 15. I was on TV, and our show was more of like a scripted comedy. It was labeled as reality, but it was scripted comedy. Everything had to be funny. Didn't matter what you were going through. We had to make a joke about it. And that was really difficult, especially being 15 and having to like put on a face for the world, and you're growing. That's when you do a lot of your most pivotal like growing moments, I like to say.
Those are the hardest years.
Yeah, like you're trying to figure out who you are, but then the world's telling you who you should be. And so I struggled a lot with my own self-worth and identity and trauma in a way when it comes to that, and especially anxiety, depression. My therapist, she kind of labels it as like high functioning depression, to where it's like I'm suffering but no one will ever know that I'm suffering. And then fast forward a few years, my parents obviously had been going through this whole legal battle since 2012 is when it started, and we're filming the show and we have to act like it's not happening because that's what the network wanted.
Wow. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I just want to lay that out for a second because of some of the things you said. Your family had everything. You had money. You grew up wealthy. The family lost their wealth, filed for bankruptcy, started this show. The show is a hit. You now have to show up in this scripted comedy in your most hard, awkward, pivotal years, put on a face to the world. Your parents are dealing with legal battles, but yet this is not outward facing. So you still have to put on that face and play this role, so to speak, without anyone knowing.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And that was the toughest part because, at the end, it just made us look like liars, because our show was a reality show, but we were told what we were and were not allowed to talk about. And that just put us in a bad spot because we just had to lie. And now everyone's like, oh, you guys are such liars. You never told us the truth, whatever, but it wasn't up to us. So we had to play this part and be these funny characters when in reality, our whole world was falling apart and no one knew. And so for 2012, the whole legal battle started. And then fast forward to 2022, 10 years later, in 2019, both my parents got like formally indicted, and it was, all white collar crime, tax fraud, bank fraud, all these different things. And then we went to trial, and both my parents were sentenced to federal prison. It was a combined 19 years they were sentenced to for an alleged white collar crime. And I have a 10-year-old sister and a 17-year-old brother that at that point I took custody of. And now we're going on 10 months of me being mom, dad, sister, caregiver, provider. So it's
intense. I didn't realize that was so recent. It's only been the last 10 months that they've been in prison.
Yeah.
It's JoJo Siwa, host of the new podcast, JoJo Siwa Now. It's time to get real up close and personal. I'm going to be talking to you like I'm writing in a journal. You're going to get all of the tea and all of the scoop. I'm also going to be talking to my friends, to people I admire, to people that are trending right now. So you're going to get like JoJo Siwa Now and like now what's going on in the world. It's going to be great, and I really hope you like it. You can listen to JoJo Siwa Now on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Tired of spills and stains on your sofa? Wash away your worries with Anabay. Anabay, the only sofa that's machine washable inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly prices. That's right, sofas from only $639. Anabay brings you a no-risk experience with pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and changeable slipcovers made with performance fabric, cloud-like comfort with high-resilience foam, and hypoallergenic featherless down that needs no fluffing. Their steel frame ensures longevity, and you can rearrange the modular pieces anytime. And here's the cherry on top, up to 60% off site-wide. It's backed by a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, so if you're not absolutely in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping or restocking fees. Every penny back. Join the revolution of easy, clean, stylish living with up to 60% off at anabay.com. That's ANABEI.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
As we wave goodbye to winter's chill, it's time to give our lawn a little love and embrace the freshness of spring. And guess what? The Home Depot's Spring Black Friday sale is here to make it all a breeze. Snag the Ryobi One Plus leaf blower for just $89 and say goodbye to tedious yard work. With a powerful 90 miles an hour of clearing power, your lawn will look spotless in a flash. And the best part? Thanks to the convenience of online shopping, you can effortlessly place your order via the app, cruise into the store for pickup, and find yourself chilling in your freshly spruced up yard in no time. Don't let this awesome deal blow away. Get your hands on the Ryobi One Plus leaf blower for only $89. Yeah, just $89. Exclusively during Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Car is making noises. I should probably take it in.
Ooh, my phone bill is huge this month.
Both girls need braces?
Life is filled with unexpected costs. It's only human to want to keep things simple. Introducing the new TD Clear credit card. With no late fees, no interest, and just a simple monthly fee, it's designed to help you manage your expenses. TD Clear. To learn more about credit costs and terms, call 1-844-TD-CLEAR. TD Bank. Unexpectedly human.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
It's about time you showed up.
Yeah, he made
Los
it.
Angeles traffic. There you go.
Los Angeles traffic. How are you, Savannah?
I'm good.
So I hear you telling your story already. You speak very well about that.
She's amazing. I'm so impressed.
Not to cut off what you were talking about, because I'm sure you were in the middle of something, but one of the things I noticed right away from Savannah when we met was that she has such an optimistic view and way of handling a situation that I cannot imagine the immense pressure that you feel in this. I mean, what you've taken on, that you legally adopted your sister and your cousin. Is that who it is?
So my sister, technically, she is my half brother's daughter.
Okay.
But my parents had adopted her, and they've had her since she was a baby. So she's been raised as sisters. So
right.
You just stepped in and absolutely took responsibility for it, and have stepped up. And I've heard you talk about it. I mean, you are so just completely dedicated to creating the best, most normal home life you possibly can. It's so, I so admire you for that, because it's a huge responsibility. You didn't ask for it. I mean, you're kind of in a situation that has just been presented to you, and it seems you've made the absolute best of it. I can't imagine how hard it is, though.
I can understand, and really everyone listening can understand the different phases. So before even getting to, having custody and, taking care of, being a caretaker, basically, being a parent, Brian said that you are so very positive and you're optimistic. And the interviews that I watched with you, the things that I've seen you say, you do just exude that. You have that. And I can't help but ask or wonder, was there ever a time where you weren't optimistic, where, you said you had to do this show, all of this legal stuff was going on in the background, you had to be funny and play this character while trying to find yourself and feeling depressed and anxious. Was there ever a time that you wanted to tap out and just say, I can't do this anymore?
So I actually did. There was 2 different times, one at the age of 15 and again at the age of 18, that I actually attempted suicide. And I had endured some trauma that I've never spoken about. It's never been the right time to speak about, but there was definitely trauma that I had endured, that I didn't know how to speak about, or that on top of also being on TV and having to act like my life is funny when behind I'm suffering emotionally. And it was really tough. And I did attempt to take my life. I say the first time was really just a cry for help, wanting someone to listen, and just, I couldn't vocalize it. And that was on me, but also at 15, I really don't know if you know how to.
You don't have the tools.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't equipped with the tools to do so. And so it was really challenging and very difficult. And then, at 18, I moved out on my own. And there was so much going on between legal stuff, TV, and still I had yet to work on the trauma that led me to that at 15 as well. And so at that point, I went to a facility called Onsite, and it's in Nashville, right outside of Nashville, and then right outside of San Diego, they have a place. And for the first time, I did therapy, because I grew up in the South, to where luckily now it's different, or at least I like to think the only thing my generation has done right is normalize that it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay.
Right. Yes.
Go to therapy and to ask for help. But in the South, you just don't do that. There's a saying, keep all of your dirty laundry. You don't put your dirty laundry on the front porch for everyone to see. I grew up, you walk out the front door, you put a smile on your face. It doesn't matter. You could be crying 2 seconds before, but no one else is going to know that. And especially too, being on TV, you couldn't trust to go and talk to someone in fear of it getting out. And so there was all these different levels to it. And then finally at 18, I was like, all right, I've got to get some help. I have to talk to someone. And so I started talking to a therapist, but it wasn't until I was 21 that I actually went to Onsite and dug deep and actually came to terms with my trauma, my codependency, ways that I was raised, and I had to face it head on. And I also had to take accountability for my actions and maybe what I've done to contribute to get me to where I'm at.
Do you still feel like you fight against that that programming of hide your dirty laundry? Is it still like an active practice for you to be like, no, I'm going to share, or I'm going to work through it with therapy, or vulnerably share in the way that you have with, your podcast and the things you're doing, which helps other people heal? But I hear you, because I imagine programming like that, that's so built into you just from family and culture, right? That you have to daily practice the art of expressing and being okay with not being okay.
I feel like, which I'm happy to say, that I've come such a long way, that like even the legal journey that my family's been through, in a way, it's taken like all blinders off. Like now, nothing's off limits. I don't have a production company or a network that's restricting me and not allowing me to see things. And I also don't have to hide anything anymore. It's like proof is in the numbers. So I look at my podcast and I look at videos, and the ones that I'm the most vulnerable, those are the highest rated episodes. Those have the most positive comments. And you look and you see people that are like, thank you so much. I needed this. This saved me. And that for me it gives me the strength to be as open and honest and as vulnerable as I am, because it's helping people and it's changing people's lives.
Sure.
So for me, I'm like, if I can take my hurt and it changed just one person's life, then it was worth it.
Right. Absolutely.
I think people don't realize that the more they tend to share with people, you create this community of people that not only really appreciate someone else being in the position and helping guide them through something, but you also find this community of people that really just so appreciate your honesty within it. That opens so many doors for people. And it's not, at the end of the day, it feels so much better to be reaching one person than having a bunch of people following you and liking you.
Yeah.
Because it's so much more, for me at least, it's so much more rewarding. I noticed, to go back to when Savannah and I first met, we met in the hotel leading up to Special Forces.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because we couldn't come from more different backgrounds, different states, different cultures, different societies, different political views, different everything. And when you meet someone that is so different, there's that immediate smack in the face of, oh man, is this going to be like, were we set up in this? Like, did they think there was going to be major conflict? And so this is great for TV. And right away we realized, or I realized with Savannah, that we had an amazing, just open conversation about everything. And we were both open to learning about each other and different views and understanding each other better. So we had, from day one, we just had an amazing connection that way. And I think it's so amazing, either through politics or societal conversations, or just reaching out to people that have differences of opinion and different things, to realize that doesn't mean that they are an enemy in any way. That you learn so much more from that. And I think, I personally think that you doing this podcast, doing your own, reaching out to people, showing people that, you know what, this situation, as hard as it is, I'm making the absolute best of it, and you can too. I think that's an invaluable message.
That's the biggest thing, is that if this has taught me anything, it's to open your eyes to something other than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like to say is, with both my parents sitting in federal prison, I never one time thought about the over 2 million people that are incarcerated in our country today. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about how these people were treated. I didn't think about government corruption. I didn't think, it's just like, oh, they're there, they did what they did, they deserve to suffer. Well, no one deserves to. Once I'm in it, and it's like smacking me in the face, I see, okay, my parents are consuming food that says not for human consumption. They are being exposed to black mold, asbestos, lead-based paint. like just inhumane conditions, no air conditioning. And you look at it and you're like, okay, wow. Part of me was kind of beating myself up over it, the fact that I was so tone deaf and so selfish to never have opened my eyes to that. And now it's like, all right, I've taken accountability because I didn't know any better. Right. But it's when you know better, you do better. And that's now it's like, all right, now I know better. Now it's my job to be a voice and to open up about these things. And it kind of goes back to what Brian said. Like, you can have completely different political beliefs or views about life. But I like to think that everyone's opinions and beliefs come from their own life experiences. And so it's valid. It doesn't mean we have to agree with each other, but the sooner that we learn to have respect for differences in opinions and beliefs, the better our world will be. And that's why it's like, I don't need to believe the same as you to like you. And I love, we all can learn a little something if we just open our eyes and ears to something different than ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I think too, you spoke about like, oh, well, you know, it's judging yourself for not being more understanding of what is going on within the prison system until you were directly affected by it. But there's so much going on in the world. Sometimes it's not until you're presented with something where I think you really start learning about those things and getting into it. The fact that you have done that, the fact that you have taken this situation and you're absolutely finding the silver lining within it and making the best of it and trying to help educate people and share your story. I think that kudos to you on doing that, because that is not that it's having to live in a situation like you are right now. It's not an easy one. And the fact that you are stepping outside of just your own involvement in it and you're trying to guide and help and educate other people within it is amazing to do.
Oh, thank you.
Tired of spills and stains on your sofa? Wash away your worries with Anabay. Anabay, the only sofa that's machine washable inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly prices. That's right, sofas from only $639. Anabay brings you a no-risk experience with pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and changeable slipcovers made with performance fabric, cloud-like comfort with high-resilience foam, and hypoallergenic featherless down that needs no fluffing. Their steel frame ensures longevity, and you can rearrange the modular pieces anytime. And here's the cherry on top, up to 60% off site-wide. It's backed by a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, so if you're not absolutely in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping or restocking fees. Every penny back. Join the revolution of easy, clean, stylish living with up to 60% off at anabay.com. That's ANABEI.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
As we wave goodbye to winter's chill, it's time to give our lawn a little love and embrace the freshness of spring. And guess what? The Home Depot's Spring Black Friday sale is here to make it all a breeze. Snag the Ryobi One Plus leaf blower for just $89 and say goodbye to tedious yard work. With a powerful 90 miles an hour of clearing power, your lawn will look spotless in a flash. And the best part? Thanks to the convenience of online shopping, you can effortlessly place your order via the app, cruise into the store for pickup, and find yourself chilling in your freshly spruced up yard in no time. Don't let this awesome deal blow away. Get your hands on the Ryobi One Plus leaf blower for only $89. Yeah, just $89. Exclusively during Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Car is making noises. I should probably take it in.
Ooh, my phone bill is huge this month.
Both girls need braces?
Life is filled with unexpected costs. It's only human to want to keep things simple. Introducing the new TD Clear credit card. With no late fees, no interest, and just a simple monthly fee, it's designed to help you manage your expenses. TD Clear. To learn more about credit costs and terms, call 1-844-TD-CLEAR. TD Bank. Unexpectedly human.
So I would love to hear about the whole parenting process in the last 10 months. But I was really struck. I was watching, I think it was on your podcast. There was a clip with you and your brother Grayson, and you were talking back and forth. And he said, Savannah, I think the hardest thing for you, you are just like Dad. You want to fix things. You've always been like that. And you can't fix this.
Wow.
And you got emotional. Yeah. And I was wondering, what about that statement hit you so hard and moved you to tears?
I think I said it on Special Forces. Like, for the first time in my life, I love two human beings more than I love myself. And watching Chloe and Grayson and the hurt that they're enduring, you know, I so badly just want to take it away. Just like, I will take it from you and feel it and be the punching bag if you don't have to. And I think that's kind of what comes with being a parent. Like, you want to shield them from anything and everything that could possibly ever hurt them. And when it comes to, I think there was a few different reasons why I got so emotional. I think one of them is because my dad and I are very similar. Very, very similar. So in a way, it's like, oh, I miss him so much that it's like, I'm channeling more of him. But also there are he and I like to say, it was something I had to work through in therapy, because we are so codependent on each other that, like, we would lie, for instance, about like having a work meeting that we would have to go to just so he and I could go to lunch together and none of my other siblings would come.
Oh, gosh.
Like, that was because there's so much, like, all right, we have a meeting, we have to go, but really we're just like going to lunch and gossiping with each other. And, you know, so he and I are very similar, but I think in that moment it also hit me that he's right. Like, this isn't something that I can fix. And I've always had the fix it mentality. And I think maybe that the fix it mentality was me running from the trauma that I couldn't fix. So if I couldn't control that, I need to be able to control everything else around me. And I think that was the struggle, is realizing that, like, I can't fix it. And as much as it sucks, I want to be able to take the hurt and the pain away. But at the same time, when I competed on Special Forces, I also was really hard on myself about walking away after the fact. I was like, I shouldn't have done it. And I was saying all these things to myself. And then I thought to myself, like, okay, I am being so hard on myself. Would I want these two kids at 10 and 17 to be as hard on themselves as I'm being on me right now? And the answer was no. And so then I had to ask myself, okay, why are they more deserving of this than you are? And in that moment, I realized, like, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to not do things exactly how you thought you were going to do it, because sometimes just showing up is enough. And especially in today's day and age, after COVID and just the world that we live in right now, sometimes just showing up is enough, because that's all that you can do. And I've just had to work through a lot of that. And I'm a huge advocate for therapy and trying to see things. And I want to understand everything. I want to understand every feeling, every emotion, so sometimes it's like, it can be a lot.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot.
And just with the kids, it's kind of like we're kind of under the understanding that we're growing up together, because I didn't lay down and have two kids. You know, I didn't get to grow from a baby to a 10-year-old and then a 17-year-old. I just at 25 was thrown a 10-year-old and 17-year-old. So we've had to learn together, and we've had to kind of take it in strides.
We talk about it here all the time. Sorry, go ahead, baby.
Parenting is something that will change you forever. And you have stepped into a parenting role. So that is certainly the experience that you're having right now. What is, I think, one of the biggest understandings, or the biggest, oh my God, this is what it takes to be a parent, moments that you've had now, having had to step into these shoes? Because I'm sure that there are many, but were there any moments where you stood there and you were like, I just don't know how mom and dad did it?
So the first one that hit me was right after mom and dad left. So we didn't do, in a way, I feel like everyone was acting like it wasn't going to happen. And for me, it was so frustrating because I was like, what's everyone doing? Like they're leaving. We need to prepare for this. But then I was like, I can't imagine how it would feel for them to just watch their kids' stuff leave their house and to know like they're leaving and they don't know when they're coming back. And so after they left, we went to the house, packed up the kids' stuff, moved them to my house. They had their own rooms. I put together their rooms. Like it was all in a day. And then that weekend we were going and visiting dad, and I like couldn't find Chloe's hair stuff and I couldn't find this. And I just like broke down. I fell to the floor and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know how my mother has done it for 27 years with 5 kids and now 6 with Chloe. I'm like, I don't know how she did it. And then, I had myself a good cry and then I figured it out from there. But on the day-to-day basis, I don't have a lot of help. I don't have a nanny. I don't, my grandparents are in their 70s. So it's basically just me. And on those days to where, this past weekend, I went and saw my mom Saturday. And then, so I drove to Kentucky Saturday, saw her, came home Saturday night. So that's a total of about 6.5 hour drive on Saturday. Sunday, I get up, fly to New Jersey, speak at an event, meet with a lawyer, fly back home, get home at 8 o'clock, get her in bed. And then Monday, I hit the ground running with working and school. And when you realize, like, too, when I was like so sick and I was like, well, I still have to get up.
You can't be sick. Yeah.
I can't be sick.
Moms don't get sick. Yeah.
No, like
you can't be.
You can't. And so, and it's not like I have like a boyfriend or a husband or whatever that's living with me, or like there's no one else that I can say, hey, I need you to do this. Still have to show up regardless of how I feel. And that's been the really tough part, is trying to find balance, because if I'm depleted and I'm not good for myself, how can I possibly be good for them? And luckily I have like one of my really best friends, and she stepped in and helped me with Chloe because she has a son that's younger. And that's been a saving grace. And so I've had to allow myself to accept help from people.
Absolutely.
But that's the most challenging part, is when you are doing it solo, and I have to be mom, dad, I have to provide, I have to work, I have to like,
it's so much, Savannah. Is there ever a moment where you get angry or you get resentful to your parents or the situation or anything because it just feels like too much and you're depleted?
I don't, I think early on I was just angry at everyone. Like I was angry at everyone. And that was the toughest part. But when it comes to my parents, I think I look at it and I know the ins and outs of our situation and our court case. And unfortunately, I grew up in the South. Like, you love the United States of America. You live and breathe our country, how it is when you grow up in the South. And unfortunately, my viewpoint of that has changed because I've seen it firsthand. And you really don't know the extent of a situation until you're truly in it. And I saw firsthand corruption within our government, and the government breaking laws to get what they want. And these are things that we've obviously put in an appeal that people can go and read. But I see the injustices that have occurred, so there's no way for me to be mad at them when
got you.
I've seen how unfair this situation has been. And also, it's just like, you know what? If they have to be inconvenienced for us to change millions of people's lives, then we're willing to do it. But I've I very early on, I had told myself that I was going to take that anger and deal with it effectively, because I saw myself just lashing out at everyone because I was so angry. And I was like, okay, how is this going to help? How is this going to change our life or our circumstances? And it wasn't. And so if I took my anger and channeled it into learning about our justice system and learning about these conditions and learning, educating myself with lawyers, that is dealing with my anger in an effective way that can get us somewhere. And so I at that point, I owed it to myself, because anger, all it does is it eats away at you. It makes you a bitter, miserable human being. And no one wants to be that way. So I made just a point very early on to tell myself, all right, we're not going to be angry. We're going to become resourceful. So instead of anger, let's become resourceful and figure out a more productive way to deal with this.
I love that question. Am I using anger effectively? Is this effective? Is it getting me what I want? And if not, you have to feel it. And then it's, well, how do I rearrange this and use it in the way that is going to help get what I most want or need?
Yeah. It's really, your outlook on all of it is unbelievable. I hope you know how rare you are. Do you know what I mean? To turn your experiences into this and to ask yourself those questions and to step out of it the way that you have, or to step into it the way that you have, in the responsibility and your mission with it, in wanting to bring awareness and help change lives. And I'm just really impressed with you, especially as a 26-year-old woman. It's phenomenal.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, really freaking cool. When you say you want to change lives and bring awareness and all the things that you've learned, what is that stuff that you're doing? What are you moving forward with what you now know? Is that the right question to ask? Does that make sense?
Yeah, without a doubt. So, unfortunately, when you are fighting against the government, it is tough, because you start to become a target, and it's been tough for me to do what I need to do. But the first step that I've taken is just putting the truth out there and exposing things. And I use my dad's Instagram to do that, because I'm not going to flood mine with it. I use his to do that, because the unfortunate part is you don't have people that are incarcerated that have a voice that can reach millions of people. You also don't have people that, a lot of people are scared. They're scared of retaliation, and they're scared of they don't have the resources, and that's the really tough part. So I'm in the process of starting an organization to where it can be a place for not only incarcerated individuals to come to for resources, whether it's lawyers or just to hold the government accountable, but also family members, because now you have over 2 million people incarcerated. Therefore, you have around roughly 6 million people that are affected by our system when it comes to family members and children. And that's the biggest thing, is children that are impacted by this statistics prove that they are more likely to become teen pregnancy, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, drug use. And chances are they will be incarcerated themselves. So statistically proven, like, are we, by incarcerating these individuals, is that what's best for society? If you're talking about a crime that is white collar, or that, to where you're not endangering people, what is a better way what are better consequences for these people? Is it going to be classes? Is it going to be paying fines? Is it going to be, there needs to be reform when it comes to that, because frankly, all we've done is we throw these people in and we throw away the key. And, over the years, obviously, any government mental health facilities have been shut down. And there is a chart that I go to a lot, and it shows over the years, like, you had, let's say in the 80s, you had these mental health facilities were at an all-time capacity. They were filled. But then as those facilities start closing, you see, obviously, that goes down and the people that are in these facilities. But at the same time that graph is going down, our prison population is going up. So that just shows you that we're throwing these people in prison that need mental health treatment, that need therapy, that need medication. Instead of giving them that help, we're just going to throw them away. And by throwing them away, and I tell people, I'm like, if you don't care about these people, that's fine. Then that's on you. But therefore, you're probably a little self-absorbed. And if you're self-absorbed, then guess how much money this is costing you to house these people in federal prison?
Right.
It's costing $150 a day for you to house them. So that's coming out of taxpayer dollars. So if you don't care about them, care about where your tax money is going. And it's just about bringing awareness to these things because people don't know. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I've connected with a handful of politicians, both Democrat and Republican, because it's, at the end of the day, it's not a left or right issue. It's a
human issue.
It's a people issue.
It's a people issue. So I don't care left, right. I'm worried about the people and I want to help save lives and I want to help rehabilitate people because that's something that we don't do. They tout that there's all these things to rehabilitate, but no one's holding the Bureau of Prisons accountable. So there's one facility that hasn't had a GED class in 5 years. But by law, they're supposed to have them. And so there aren't regulations to hold these people accountable. And we're not teaching people how to re-enter back into society. I mean, you're in prison for 10 years. You don't know how to get out and work an iPhone. You don't know how to pay a bill. You don't know how to use Venmo. Like, we're not teaching people. I like to say we're teaching them a currency for prison. We're not teaching them a currency for the outside world.
Interesting.
So true.
Powerful statement.
Yeah.
Very true.
So it's tough, but I like to say, unfortunately, sometimes you have to, change doesn't just happen. You have to force change sometimes. And it's going to be uncomfortable. People aren't going to like it. And chances are people are going to turn against you before they turn for you.
Savannah, the road less traveled is, we've said it a million times here. The road less traveled is called that because it's a hard road to be on.
Yeah.
Tired of spills and stains on your sofa? Wash away your worries with Anabay. Anabay, the only sofa that's machine washable inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly prices. That's right, sofas from only $639. Anabay brings you a no-risk experience with pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and changeable slipcovers made with performance fabric, cloud-like comfort with high-resilience foam, and hypoallergenic featherless down that needs no fluffing. Their steel frame ensures longevity, and you can rearrange the modular pieces anytime. And here's the cherry on top, up to 60% off site-wide. It's backed by a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, so if you're not absolutely in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping or restocking fees. Every penny back. Join the revolution of easy, clean, stylish living with up to 60% off at anabay.com. That's ANABEI.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
As we wave goodbye to winter's chill, it's time to give our lawn a little love and embrace the freshness of spring. And guess what? The Home Depot's Spring Black Friday sale is here to make it all a breeze. Snag the Ryobi One Plus leaf blower for just $89 and say goodbye to tedious yard work. With a powerful 90 miles an hour of clearing power, your lawn will look spotless in a flash. And the best part? Thanks to the convenience of online shopping, you can effortlessly place your order via the app, cruise into the store for pickup, and find yourself chilling in your freshly spruced up yard in no time. Don't let this awesome deal blow away. Get your hands on the Ryobi One Plus leaf blower for only $89. Yeah, just $89. Exclusively during Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Car's making noises. I should probably take it in.
Ooh, my phone bill is huge this month.
Both girls need braces?
Life is filled with unexpected costs. It's only human to want to keep things simple. Introducing the new TD Clear credit card. With no late fees, no interest, and just a simple monthly fee, it's designed to help you manage your expenses. TD Clear. To learn more about credit costs and terms, call 1-844-TD-CLEAR. TD Bank. Unexpectedly human.
Stepping back into family stuff for a second, you said you have 5 siblings, right? And you are currently the caretaker of your 2 younger ones. Where are your 2 older siblings? Are they involved in your life and helping out?
Not at all. My 2 oldest siblings are from my dad's first marriage. So they're from his first marriage, and they just, over the years, I feel like there's been a lot of anger and resentment. Just over the fact that my parents are together, theirs weren't. And then when the show came about, I feel like there was jealousy. There was a whole bunch of things that were involved. The oldest 2 were also involved in my parents' criminal case. So there was a lot of jealousy. They worked with the government. There is a lot of proof to show that. And so at that point, I'm done. You know, my loyalty is to my parents, and it's to the people who have always been there for me and loved me and showed up for me. And yeah, so they're not in the picture at all. And then Chase, who is my brother, who is 14 months older than me, he lives here in Nashville, so he's here. And then it's me, 26, Grayson, 17, and now Chloe, who's 10.
Who's 10.
I think people always make that mistake. They always say like, oh, well, if it's family, like you've got to be there no matter what. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think you try no matter what, but then at some point, if you have to move on from a situation because it's unhealthy and not good for you to be in, then you do. That's just my stance on it. I've had experiences within my family where that's just had to be the case. And
I'm 100. I just spoke about this not long ago, and I said, as an adult, it's my responsibility to have healthy relationships. It's my responsibility to identify what is healthy in a relationship and what's not healthy. And just because you're family doesn't mean I have to be the punching bag or I have to take unhealthy behavior just because we're blood related. I'm a firm believer that, like, I have friends who have been better family to me than some of my own family members. Right. So at the end of the day, the hurt didn't start with me, but it can stop with me.
You keep saying these things.
Yeah, that's a good one. We might have to use that quote. We might have to use that on our page.
So Savannah, what's a funny moment? I mean, in the last 10 months, obviously you've gone through a lot of surprising things, a lot of heavier things. You've made a lot of lemonade out of lemons in situations that you've been in. What's something that's just funny? I was cooking dinner one night in the last 10 months and this was the best meal we had, or I never knew how hard it was to do this. What is something that's just kind of funny that comes to mind?
I think funny would be, like I said, the kids and I are like growing up together. So we're learning as we go. And I had been around the kids nonstop. And then I'm like, okay, like I want to get back to dating. I want to, so very early on, I was talking to a few people. I wasn't dating anyone. And Chloe was like, Savannah, we have to have a talk. And I was like, oh,
love it. How old is Chloe again? Sorry.
10.
She's 10.
10.
We have to have a talk. I was like, okay, what? Like, did something happen? She was like, it's about you. I was like, okay. I was like, what's this about? She goes, all right, which guy do we like the best?
Oh my God.
And I was dying. I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, I have a 10-year-old that's like, hey, you need to stop. We need to pick one person like, and that's it. And so it was funny because I'm like, I'm her sister, so I'm not her mother. So it was funny because I'm like, all right, we're growing up together. Okay. Like we're learning as we go. But the fact I had a 10-year-old call me out on my game, I was like, all right.
That's amazing. And also like a funny blurred line, right? You jump in and out of being like the parent to the sister, you know, and so she's like, listen, you're gonna narrow down the boyfriends, all right, you know.
Right.
So cute.
Like I tell people, and because you know how it is in today's day and age, people will mom shame, parent shame,
Constant. Yeah, it's constant.
Yes.
And I remind people, I'm like, hey, I didn't lay down and have these kids, okay? Like I stepped in, I was the sister, and then I stepped in as caretaker and parent. So I do have these certain expectations as a parent, but also like I really am just sister, you know? So I've definitely had to put a few people in their place along the way.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's a shame that people are giving you that. You're learning, literally, like you said.
It's trial by fire, what it is. She's
right.
Yeah.
And there's a huge difference between stepping into a parent role with kids that are somewhat grown to, as I think you call it, laying down and having a kid. Is that what you said? And then lay down and have these kids. I mean, listen, that's pretty much how you make amend, how you haven't. that's the way. It's a huge difference, and I relate to that into, you know, being a step parent and also now having a biological son. Like the difference, what you learn once they come out of you, what unlocks in you that you just magically know. Like you cannot replace that in an instant just because you suddenly have these beautiful kids that you've got to take care of. You have to learn along the way, honestly, the hard way, you know, and you're stepping into it when people have already been playing those roles, you know, so you're like, am I being compared to, or how did they do it? Or what am I doing? That's huge to step into. And I think giving yourself grace with that in your process of learning is so important. It's because it's big. There's no rule book on how to do it, but of course there are the people that want to shame you if you're not doing it the way that they say.
That's amazing to me. I mean, the fact that that Savannah stepped into a situation, she didn't ask for it, she stepped into it because she literally needed to, and then she is being shamed for any choices that she's making and trying to figure out how to do this is beyond me. I think people are out of their minds for doing that.
Trust me.
Totally.
We did there was that whole hot chip challenge that came out, right? That
that was that blue chip that you had to eat that was turning people's mouths green or something.
I didn't even see this. What was this?
So it's this hot chip challenge. It's like supposed to be like the world's hottest chip, and all these kids are doing the challenge. And so Grayson and Chloe wanted to do it, and I was like, all right, whatever, it's funny. Like, and this was before someone had passed away from doing it.
Oh my Lord. Oh wow. Yeah.
Like I didn't
They're
know.
hot.
I didn't know that. And so we filmed it like for YouTube on the podcast of the kids doing it. Oh my gosh. People were like, someone needs to call like child
services. I can't stand that.
She's mistreating these children. And I was like, please. I was like, if this is mistreating,
it's not Tide Pods, for God's sakes. It's a chip. It's actual food.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
this is children. I want to be mistreated. I want to be mistreated. If this is mistreated.
yeah, totally. Yeah. If this is it. Wow. Yeah. Listen, people are always going to have something to say. You can't please everybody. That's for sure. But I feel like you're doing an incredible job at stepping into unplanned circumstances and making the most out of it. It's really impressive. I know I said that about 5 times already, but I am really impressed by you.
I'm very impressed with your self-talk. I saw it on Special Forces. I've listened to your podcast and interviews, and just talking with you today, the way that you're able to be self-aware, to change and work with the thoughts that you're having is something that is unique. I mean, obviously therapy helps in doing self-work, but to be able to make that shift is something that is so important, especially when dealing with trauma from your past, especially stepping into, I know you're the sister, stepping into any sort of parent role where if you have trauma, and let's be real, most of us have some form of trauma, likely. When you step into that role, you get to face your trauma in a new way because it highlights what was the same and what you would do different, and how it exposes everything. And it can be like a raw nerve, but it could also be so incredibly healing to see that and have that experience while stepping into that role.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So what's next for you? Where do you go from here?
Gosh, what's next? So my podcast, Unlocked with Savannah, it's been a good platform for me to be open and honest and vulnerable and share things that I've never spoken about before. But we are also in the process. We've partnered with a production company called Scout, and they did the show Queer Eye and a bunch of other ones. But partnered with them, and we have a new show that we're filming, and I like to say this will be the first reality show that we've ever filmed, and it's gonna follow me and the kids, and the kids chase my grandparents, and also just the fight to get my parents home. Wow. Along with me dating and relationships and trying to manage career, personal life, kids, all the things in one. So we're really excited about that.
That's really cool, and brave of you to want to put all that out there. I think that is awesome. And I love that this opportunity I'm sure you created it, and you brought it into your space, but I love that you have that where you get to do, as you said, your first reality show where you don't have to pretend everything is okay if it's not. You get to practice this skill of being vulnerable and honest and sharing, that it's okay to not be okay and the truth of what's going on. And of course, I'm sure it will help with putting the spotlight on the fight for you getting your parents out.
For sure. And I like to say, celebrities need to realize that all these other people profit off of their misfortune and their hardship. And I was just like, you know what? No one else is going to profit off of our hurt other than us. So I might as well exploit it before someone else gets the chance to.
Heck yes, girl. Amen to that.
Yeah. That's a good stance.
If you're going to do it your way and have it benefit you in the ways that you want.
You own it. You own that a lot.
Savannah, so great spending a little time with you and talking with you. Thank you.
Again, I'm so impressed with you, Savannah, and I'm so excited for people to just continue to see you and grow with you. And I think the way you are sharing your life and speaking to people is incredible. It's really incredible. Thank you so much for being a guest here on this. I know you have kids, you have stuff that you need to go do, but thank you so much for giving us time.
Yes, we really appreciate you, Savannah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, honey.
Oh, I can't believe I missed some of that. I'm so disappointed in myself.
LA traffic, baby.
I know you guys held it down well. Savannah's amazing.
She's amazing.
What an incredible story.
I know Randy's over there itching because he could have done 2 episodes with Savannah in just understanding how incredible she is and what she's been through.
Oh, yeah.
Could you see how many questions I wanted to go deep in so many areas?
I know.
Was
I could see you wiping sweat every time the camera would cut to you because you were like, you had 50 questions, but you just had to narrow it down to one at a time.
I think that since Savannah so beautifully was, sharing her story and her current experiences with us, it would be so cool to have her on another episode of Oldish that was more targeted to how to manage your negative self-talk, to those subjects that we really dive into and trying to help people in building those skills to move forward. I think she would be an unbelievable guest.
Maybe she'll come back again and I'll try and be here for the whole episode next
That
time.
would be awesome if you could.
Yeah. The thing that really jumped out was the point where she's 15, she's a teen. There's all this stuff going on in the background, and yet she's on TV. And I could relate to it for a moment because I did a reality show way back when, and I was a hot mess during that show. It's when my father passed away. And I know personally what that is like, to have to play a role and to keep it together and try and be funny and entertaining. And inside you want to scream or cry or just shrivel up for a moment, and you can't. And I think that there's something there about how to navigate feelings of playing these roles to people and how to step out of that role and just be you. And I think she's doing that beautifully. And I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
She really is. She's a very impressive young woman.
Randy, I know you've got to get to work. You've got stuff going on.
People need you, Randy.
I do.
People need
you.
Yeah.
The bat signal is up, man. Your
Yeah,
phone
it
is
is.
going to
ringing,
put on
I'm
the
sure.
cape and go do my other job. So good to see you both as always.
Yeah,
And
thank you so much
Good
to
to see
everybody
you
that
too,
listened
Randy.
once again, and we will be back with a Q&A. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Bye,
Bye, you
everybody.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yes, you guys are amazing. Make sure you guys go and follow us on Instagram at @oldishpod. And you can also go and leave us a message at our own hotline, which is 855-OLDISH-3.
Make sure and write us a review. Leave us 5 stars if you loved it. Leave us 5 stars if you didn't.
We
It
love
helps.
5 stars. We love 5 stars.
Yeah.
Give
We
us
like
all
5
the stars.
stars.
Yeah. See you
All
next
right.
week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you next week, everyone.
For 25 years, Brightview Senior Living has been dedicated to creating an award-winning company culture so residents and families receive best-in-class services. Across our 50 communities, Brightview associates help deliver peace of mind, safety, security, transportation, daily programs, delicious food, and high-quality care if needed. Discover how our vibrant senior living communities can help you live your best life. Visit brightviewseniorliving.com to learn more. Equal housing opportunity.
Does money stress you out? Let Facet flip your financial chaos into clarity.
We feel way more confident and secure in our finances, and with that comes a sense of freedom.
Financial planning from Facet is here to help you improve your life today, tomorrow, and every day after that.
Facet was really the place where we saw all of the tools and the people coming together.
Visit Facet.com, FACET.com to learn more. This ad is sponsored by Facet. Facet Wealth is an SEC registered investment advisor. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor is it investment, legal, or tax advice. These testimonials are from current Facet members who are not compensated. All opinions are their own and not a guarantee of a similar outcome.
The TD Cash Credit Card lets you choose how you earn your cashback rewards. Learn more at td.com/cashcard. TD Bank, unexpectedly human. Restrictions apply. See terms and conditions on tdbank.com or visit a TD Bank store for details regarding the rewards program, rates, fees, and other important information. Credit approval required. Offered by TD Bank N.A.